I don't know how.
Hello and welcome to Cognitions, Speaking the Unspeakable with JP and Stacy D. Stacy D, where are you at?
I'm trying to get on. You know, once I got some technical difficulties for a change. In your mind, Mr. Walker trying to be, somebody got to mess up every time, okay?
Why are you blaming somebody else? This is you. This is you, D. Oh, that's better. Now I can't hear you.
What's wrong with you?
Oh, okay, there you go.
Here. Well, I'm still dark though.
For our listeners, Stacy D was sitting in the dark. No,
came to the light.
I think when you're closer, I'm gonna let you figure it out. I'm rolling on.
Just roll with it. Just roll with it, because I can't figure it out right there. Hold on.
I am JP Craddock. That is the one and only ridiculous today. Stacy D Love. In the dark. She's in the dark somewhere. She's still having her identity crisis. Stacy D, who are you today?
I don't know.
Okay, we'll let you figure it out. Coming up on the show today, we have our question of the day, which is, my spouse wants to bring a third party into the bedroom. Could this save my relationship or will it destroy it?
Woo woo!
So, that's our question of the day. We will read some of the comments that was posted on Facebook pertaining to the question of the day. That will be coming up after mental health and illness in the news. So usually around the half-hour mark, we get to the question of the day. Let's get to our check-ins. Stacy D, are you settled yet? Is the D?
No, I just haven't. Mr. Walker, what you done did to my cameras? You are totally
in the dark right now.
I know. I don't know what's wrong.
When you, Stacy D, when you move, when you come forward, see, like right there is perfect. That's where you needed to be, right? Ooh, perfect.
I'm standing up.
Wait a minute, hold it. You gonna stand up? You gonna stand up for the whole show?
No, but I know Terry Mason will tell me to stand up because I'm standing up some of them pounds.
Oh my Lord, Stacy D, do you? Okay, first thing, I can't move on. I can't. Because she's back in the dark. I thought.
It's the light.
You know what? She needs to turn off the light, block it out. Hold on.
That was the window. Okay, I'm gonna close my window.
Mr. Walker, why did you tell her to do that? It's darker now. Oh yeah. Okay, there you go. Oh, that's perfect. Thank you, Mr. Walker.
Catastrophe.
See, and you get on Mr. Walker every week. He just saved the day for you, okay? Because you was gonna end up standing up the whole show.
That wasn't gonna happen, but it sounds good.
Stacy
and I was here at 1:45 too. Okay, look, I done got dark again, y'all. Look, I think
perfect. Do not move from where you at right now, Stacy D. Okay, do you have a check-in for today?
Hell no, it's already 10 minutes after.
Hell no. Okay.
I know the light is good. I ain't get to put my lip gloss on the huddle.
Oh my God. Well, I have 2 check-ins, so it works that you don't have one.
I don't have time for the check-in, trying to get the lighting right.
Well, it's perfect now, thanks to Mr. Walker. Okay. On a more serious note, we have to take a moment to address something. A young man committed suicide, and apparently he had been struggling with some suicidality for 4, 5, 6 months leading up to this. Before committing suicide, he left a note, and he talked to his girlfriend and his best friend. This is a young man in his 20s. Apparently, the girlfriend and the best friend, they didn't really know how to respond. They did not notify anyone that he was experiencing some suicidal thoughts, okay, suicidality. And as a result, he ended up committing suicide. And so I wanted to take just a moment to talk about how do we handle this when we know someone who is expressing suicidal thoughts, because to under respond, everyone worries about over responding to these situations, but the truth of the matter is you really can't over respond to suicidality.
Not at all. This is someone's life. It's very seriously. Regardless if they're serious or not, I need everyone to act like it is very serious.
Yes, that is the problem, because he had been experiencing some suicidality for months, they under responded. They assumed that, oh, he's just talking and etc. And the truth of the matter is there are people, especially teenagers, can fall into this category of using suicidal threats to manipulate situations, to get attention, there's different reasons that people will express feeling suicidal when they may not actually be feeling it. And the mistake that people make is under responding, because they're like, well, they always say that and da, 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 da. What you need to realize, though, is that when a person does that, even if they are just exhibiting attention-seeking behaviors, if you under respond, they then go into the next stage of this, which is, oh, so nobody cares.
Nobody
cares. I'm
They're
gonna show y'all.
Help. They're crying for help. A lot of times they're crying. They're crying.
Yes, it is a cry for help. And if you do not respond to that cry, they will switch to that mode of, I'm going to show you all, because apparently no one really cares that I said that I was going to kill myself. You're going to care in a little bit. And then they actually do it. And so that's the reason why I want everyone to know there is no such thing as over responding. The process that you were supposed to take is, for teenagers out there, please let an adult know what is going on. Okay, so that an adult can intervene and help with the situation. For adults who you have a friend or family member who is expressing this, always respond as if they are minutes away from killing themselves. Talk to them. I'm not asking you to do therapy. I'm not asking you to have perfect things to say, but you need to at least express and show that you care, that you do not want them to, attempt suicide or commit suicide. And even if you think they are using the threats for attention-seeking purposes, give them that attention.
Give it to them, exactly.
And it's okay.
Hold on, JP. Gotta say one thing. I got a story.
Gone, D, gone.
So, my daughter, baby D, she was an avid skater, but she got in trouble at school, so she was not going skating that Saturday. And she had a whole breakdown that she was gonna kill herself because I wouldn't let her go skating when she was in high school. So my response, the master's in social worker, was, heifer, I wish you would, because you better not have no blood on my carpet or my sheets, and gonna do it because I got $1 million policy on it. Then she thought,
ACD, I don't know. I don't even know what to say right now.
Yeah, because you know your children. They lived in a lap of luxury. She was just mad because she got a punishment due to, I didn't play about school. She got a punishment because of her behaviors in school, and she couldn't have her free time in skating. So she thought she was going to go ahead and go skating anyway. And I shut all that down. So that's when her throwing herself about, I'm going to kill myself all on her bed and stuff. You better not get no blood on my sheets, my carpet, or nothing. And go ahead on, because I got $1 million policy. Make it look accidental and it doubles.
Well,
but don't do that.
Okay.
He's your friend.
I'm
you
lying.
have to know the child. You have to know the child. And I did watch her, and I just gave her some mother and daughter time, and we discussed it afterwards. Because she took me there and I went there, but we discussed it afterwards, and she didn't leave my spot. She didn't leave my side. And guess what? She still had a good time. It sort of messed up the punishment because it was just she and I that day. And we watched a movie, we had some popcorn, and then she was okay. But sometimes you have to be careful. Don't do parents, your child, do it. Hell, tell me. And you better not get on board on nothing.
No, Stacy D, you are gonna make Mr. Walker make us start pre-recording these shows. Okay, he is very nervous right now. Like,
my child, you better not get no blood on them sheets on my carpet. But yeah,
you gonna get us shut down, Stacy D. Okay,
hey, we just gotta keep it real.
In the D, you speaking some real unspeakable right now. In that instance, because the D, she knows her kid.
Yes.
To all of you parents out there, okay, I am not suggesting that you take Stacy D's approach unless you was dealing with Stacy D's kid. We don't know what your situation is. Talk to your kid. If you think your kid is exhibiting attention-seeking behavior, go ahead and try to address the root of the problem. Like, okay, what's really going on? Why are you upset? What has you so upset that you are willing to die for it? Okay, it's so horrible that you cannot go on. The other thing to think about when it comes to suicidality, the underlying root of that is a symptom of depression, which is hopelessness. When a person gets to the point where they feel like my life it's over, it's never going to get any better, the situation that I'm in is never going to go away, I'm never going to feel any better, that is hopelessness, and hopelessness precedes suicidality. When you have a loved one who is expressing hopelessness, you need to be aware, even if they have not made any suicidal statements, that is the next step, and the goal is to prevent them from moving to that next step. Now, if you fail to respond, or you under respond, you run the risk of them then experiencing the next symptom of depression, which is worthlessness. I don't matter. I'm unimportant. Nobody loves me. I have told these fools that I'm thinking about killing myself, and they don't care. Nobody's saying anything. So you want to avoid all of that. You want to avoid that downward spiral. And for parents, if you do not know what to do, you need to call the nearest hospital.
Community mental health center. They usually have a 24-hour clock, or then the hospital. Most
24-hour crisis line.
Crisis line. Yeah, most definitely call the
any
mental health center, and then call the hospital, because the community mental health center can help you a whole lot better than the hospital.
Yeah, but if it's after hours, it's after hours, because these mental health centers, they shut down between 6 and 8. If it's after hours, call the hospital. Okay, the hospital has social workers there who can do a screening. Any hospital, preferably a psych hospital. But if you are frantic and you're like, oh my God, my loved one is feeling suicidal, call any hospital. Okay,
and because do not leave their side. And do not leave their side. If they're on the phone with you, keep them on the phone and get to where they are.
They need to be in your sight at all times.
Yes.
And what the hospitals do, especially the psych hospitals, they do a wonderful job of this, is they do a screen to see if your loved one needs to be admitted to the hospital for stabilization. Okay, this doesn't mean they're going to keep them forever. It's just for stabilization. Usually it's only like 2 or 3 days. All right, so I just wanted to address that. Please, 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 people, do not under-respond or take these threats as idle threats, because that in and of itself will make them real threats. And then you will find yourself in a real tragedy. All right, so next check-in. This is on a much lighter note. You know, I'm always saying that I ain't playing COVID games. I don't play them COVID games. I ain't playing COVID games. COVID games, I ain't the one. I ain't gonna be able to do it.
No COVID games.
I have a confession.
You played the COVID game?
I done played some COVID games. I have to confess. Now, of course, it's my sister's fault. It's my sister's fault.
Stephanie.
Yes. My
she's
sister.
she's not even on the line today. Where are you, Stephanie? Do we need to call you?
I'm glad she's not on here because I'm about to talk about her. And I don't want another person to ban me from talking about her. So hopefully she never watches this.
Did you go to Kelly's birthday party?
What?
Kelly's birthday party.
What do you mean? What birthday party?
Wasn't it last week?
No. We had COVID. COVID shut that down.
Oh, wow.
Here's the COVID games. It wasn't Kelly's party. My sister planned a birthday party for 3 people. This was a triple birthday party, which made it.
That means a triple threat.
It was a triple threat, which made it hard to say, hell no, I ain't playing them COVID games. She planned the party at Buka. I'm gonna say the name of the restaurant because they threatened us. They threatened our lives. Buca de Pepo.
I don't like that. I don't like their food. You're better than me. I don't even like their food.
Really? Oh my God. I love their food. Italian? Yes.
I like Italian food, but I don't like their food.
Oh, love their food.
I'm a real big fan. Or maybe I need to try some different things. I don't know.
They got a million things. This restaurant is so wonderful. Everything you order feeds at least 3 people because it's family style eating. And so, you know, folks up in there ordering family style dishes just for themselves. They coming out with plates big as 4 people's heads. Here's the problem with Buka. It was in a basement. And we knew this. This restaurant is in a basement with no windows and no ventilation. I agreed to go to this party. It was for my brother-in-law, my cousin, and my other sister. And it was like, it's 3. How do you?
You had a birthday party there before, Gerald, JP.
That was Kelly's party.
That was Kelly's?
Oh, that was Kelly's party. A triple birthday party is hard to say no. And so I was optimistic. Surely the restaurant has made reasonable accommodations for the pandemic. They have ventilation down there. They've put in fans. They've done something because this restaurant is literally in a basement under a parking garage, okay? Which sounds bad, but it's the plaza. It's nice. It's nice. It's a nice setup. The restaurant's like a maze. Here's the first problem. We show up. You know you have to walk through the kitchen. My description of this is making it sound like this is a hole-in-the-wall restaurant, but this is a nice restaurant. This is a nice. For those of you listeners who are not in the Kansas City area, y'all have no idea. What I'm about to describe is going to sound like a hellhole death trap, but this is a nice restaurant. But you do have to walk through the kitchen to get into the restaurant. There was the mask mandate is in place in Missouri. We're walking through the kitchen with our mask on, but when we get out of the kitchen, we notice that over half of the people sitting in the waiting area, nobody had on masks. So all these customers are walking through the restaurant with no mask, breathing on lasagna and every kind of pasta you can imagine, breathing on it. We probably should have left then. I'm still playing COVID games. We did not leave. They seat us at a long table. They had the restaurant so packed. They did not social distance in this restaurant. It was so packed that they seated another large party at the table behind us. Ooh. It was so packed that when you got up to go to the restroom, you booty bumping everybody in the head on your way. Ooh, excuse me. You booty bumping everybody in the head. That's how packed it was. So packed that people.
It was COVID games. You were playing COVID games.
These are COVID games. The people on the other side of our table, they had us so packed in that when one person had to get up to go to the restroom, everybody had to get up in order for them to even get out. And I'm not talking just like chubby family members. I'm talking skinny family members. Everybody had to get up, not just us chubby people. Okay, everybody had to get up. Okay. And so I'm sitting there, I'm nervous. Nadine's nervous. She done put her mask on, okay?
Here go Nadine. I don't care what they doing. I don't care. You.
She put her mask on in the restaurant.
And she's like, babe, are you ready?
Kept it on to that damn food.
Nadine, I'm talking about you. Hey, hey, Gail, thanks for watching us.
She was trying to not play COVID games, but my thoughts were, we're trapped in a restaurant that is essentially a dungeon. No ventilation. It was hot down there. We found one vent in the ceiling and wasn't no cold air coming out of it. Okay. No fans. And so I'm like, she's telling me, you need to put your mask on. I'm like, but we gotta eat. We gotta take it off to eat, and we are elbow to elbow with the COVID games.
COVID games, you played it. So this is another. I'm going to take my second shot tomorrow.
Oh, this is wonderful. My point in this is, please, people, don't play COVID games, because we had to go get COVID tests. I didn't take Sashi to the restaurant, but we still had to get her a COVID test. Now they're using big Q-tips the size of my baby's nose. We had to use that. She had a fit in the car. She kicking, she screaming. It was a situation, okay? Our test came out negative. We're done with these kind of restaurants. If you go to a restaurant, like where we went, Stacy D, restaurant.
Go outside. I was like, and don't have nobody next to us.
Yeah, well, the restaurant was empty, so we didn't really have to go outside, but they had that nice large patio area. And umbrellas. Please, people, don't play COVID games. I'm guilty. I played COVID games. This was a wonderful party, though. We did have a good time. Like 3 cakes. It's
just nice to fellowship with family, though. JP, it's just nice to fellowship with family.
Ain't nobody trying to die to fellowship with these fools.
But check it out. Sister Stephanie, can you make another pineapple upside down cake and peach cobbler? For Labor Day's coming, we can go outside. We was outside.
She is not listening to this. I'm gonna tell her we didn't do the show today because I done talked about her. Did she planned a party at a place and almost killed everybody? Okay, let's get to mental health and illness in the news. All right. Because we're running a little behind, but our question of the day actually is not going to take a whole lot of time. Here's something that is extremely unfortunate. A woman was shot and killed during a Zoom conference call, and all of her co-workers watched her die.
PTSD.
She was shot by her toddler. The baby had stumbled across her boyfriend, paramour, something, husband, I don't know, her partner's gun, and shot this woman. Her colleagues were frantic. They were calling, 911. They watched her bleed out. And so I'm mentioning this in mental health and illness in the news because, and I'm not going to go into a whole spiel on, gun control and that whole thing, because we don't have enough time for that. What I am going to say is I feel like in these instances, the owner of the gun should be tried for manslaughter. If you own a gun and it is not safely secured in a safe high enough up where a toddler cannot get to it, I don't know how a gun is low enough for a toddler to get a hold of it. And a child gets a hold of that gun, because this has happened many, many times, where kids accidentally shoot each other.
Their siblings, shoot themselves.
This happens so much. Start trying the owners of these guns. These fools need to be tried for manslaughter, because indirectly you played a role in that. I am so I don't even know the words for describing how I feel about this poor child who is going to grow up with the weight of this. Because even though cognitively the child will get to a point where they understand it was not my fault. It was not my fault. I was a child. I thought it was a toy. I was playing with it. Sometimes we can understand things on a cognitive level, but in our heart, we still carry the guilt and the weight of that. This child is going to most likely experience PTSD symptoms, which will be chronic and lifelong, depression, which will be chronic and most likely lifelong. Let's prevent children from being in this position. If you have a gun, put it in a safe. Secure your weapon. Why do you have a loaded gun? The ammo's in there just for a toddler. This was a 21-year-old woman killed. Her name was Shamaya Lynn. Shamaya Lynn. And it's devastating. It's devastating for that whole family. And I'm especially feeling bad for this child. So please, people, be responsible. At least pretend that you have some damn common sense when it comes to your weapons. Okay, next story, mental health and illness in the news. We got time for one more. An 8th grader in Mississippi tested positive for COVID and passed away the very next day. She had no underlying conditions. Her name was Michaela Robinson. The Delta variant has gone for accounting for 3% of the COVID cases to 99%. I am bringing up this story because we still have fools having fits about their children being required to wear masks. People, pull it together. Just because you want your kid to not have to wear a mask does not mean that everybody who is around your child should have to be.
Well, if you don't want your child to wear a mask, then you need to have your child do virtual learning.
Yes, homeschool your kid. You don't get to say, I don't want my kid to wear a mask and I want my kid to be able to go into the school.
Did you see in Independence, Missouri, they voted it down.
Yeah, they said no mask mandate.
No mask mandate.
Which is ridiculous.
I bet you I won't be up in there without no mask. I'm going to have my mask on.
Right. Okay. So
I just got a brand new. Straight out the mail, Bo.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, wonderful idea.
Make it a fashion statement.
Yes, for those of you who are like, I don't want to wear no mask. I don't want. Okay, then jazz up your mask. Buy one that is fashionable. Get some glue and put some shiny crap on it. Do something. Okay?
I'm about to get Sire a mask. You want a mask?
Poor dog. Poor dog. Stacy D, are we ready for the question of the day? All right, the question of the day. My spouse wants to bring a third party into the bedroom. Could this save my relationship or will it destroy it? There are some comments on this. Stacy D, do you want to read the comments now to be sure that we cover any questions that, you know?
I like to read the questions now. Okay, we have Crystal Coleman Johnson.
Not all of them.
Hyphenated name. So we're going to say 75% chance that she is married. Destroy. Somebody is going to develop feelings and now we have a problem. Leave the third party out your relationship and just work on upgrading your freaky talents.
Ooh, upgrade your freaky
talents. And I said, Crystal, I agree.
As opposed to bringing in a third party. Get on top of your freak skills.
I mean, and we have actually had something like this once before. We was borderline getting kicked off the station, so I'm not even gonna go into it. But yeah, most definitely try different things. Okay, Stephanie Payne Smith. Who is that?
Who plays COVID games?
Yeah, that is ungodly. It will destroy it, and so will God.
Destroy the relationship.
Destroy the relationship, and so will God. Francis Wilson. If the relationship has reached the level of crazy, there's no hope for sustaining unless both of you are crazy. Okay, Francis.
Francis is speaking the unspeakable. Francis is keeping it real.
Okay, we actually have a man, Mike Cope. Me, I pee my pants and hide in the closet until everyone has gone. Mike, you don't want to have two women at the same time? I think that was every man's dream.
Hold up. Now, when it comes, this question does not say who the parties were.
That's
Mike's
true.
thinking his wife might have invited some man up in there who had plans.
Because it doesn't say which spouse. It just says my spouse. So that might be a woman like, hey, babe, I want your place.
Listen, what's his name? Mike is scared that a man was going to show up with plans for him and his wife, and he's hiding in the closet. Because he's like, I don't want to play those freak games.
Watch this, y'all. I'm going to make JP mad. He acting like R. Kelly in the closet.
Stacy D, why you bring up this gum child molester? Why, Stacy D?
Sorry.
Okay. Let me first say, before we get into this question, because in presenting this question, I'm sure most people thought that this is a situation where a wife has a husband who is wanting to bring a third party into the bedroom. Let me say this question was not presented by a wife whose husband is wanting to bring a third party into the room. This question was presented by a husband whose wife wants to bring a third party into the room. Now, I have seen...
Men have big egos. How did he take that? Woo!
He's not taking it very well.
I know he's not.
I have seen and addressed this with couples in therapy. From my experience, most of the time when it's women wanting to bring a third party in, she's wanting to bring in another female because of some bi-curiosity. She assumes that her husband is going to be like, I'm having two women. Let me explain something. I have had men who are like, I don't care, it's another woman, because I already know what's going to go down. My wife is curious. Her and this other woman going to dang near push me off the bed, and they are going to be getting a full freak on.
Going to be getting down.
I am not going to be a part of the party. Something else I want to address is not only are women willing at times to bring a third party in, a lot of times people think this is just young people. I have had couples
older.
I had a couple in their 60s, grandparents who were bringing.
They might be grandparents, great grandparents at 60. Oh my goodness!
They were bringing multiple third parties. They were full swingers into the bedroom. Now here's the difference between old people. they have more to lose. And so there's more anxiety in experimenting with this lifestyle, because how do you sit and explain to your kids and your grandkids if you get caught doing some, threesome mess, and you old, they confused, like
it might be a foursome or a foursome.
When you old, that is a lot to explain to the family members. And so with the older couples, there tends to be a lot more anxiety around this. But here's the thing. Here at Cognitions, speaking the unspeakable, we welcome people to speak the unspeakable. We do not judge people. And as a therapist, it's my responsibility to not judge people. So today we're going to talk about, well, what does it take in order to pull this off successfully? All right. I understand the comments that were read and, and that whole thing, but I'm looking at this from a therapeutic perspective. I have to just work with couples on, well, let's take a look at it. Y'all want to invite a third party in, a fourth party? Let's take a look at it.
Party, the whole house party, hell.
Right. So here's the risk in bringing in a third party. The risk in bringing in the third party, and I talk to couples about this, is that what if the third party comes in and rocks one of y'all's world? To the point that you watching your spouse's world get rocked
in a way that you haven't been able to rock it.
You ain't never did it that way.
Never did it that way.
You gonna be a nervous fool. Okay, because
they might take you out the equation.
That's the fear. I'm so glad you said that, Stacy D, because, and this has happened with these couples. Eventually we end up having a session where one of them snuck off and played with the person that rocked their world without the spouse being a part of it. And sometimes people say, well, you got to have rules. That just means you have to have rules, that's not an option. And
rules are meant to be broken.
There you go. Even when couples have rules that we are not going to hook up with this person outside of our bedroom and all three of us present, when your spouse's world has been rocked, or your world, all of a sudden the rules begin to shrink and they look up.
About me getting that good feeling. How about that?
And them two are off playing by themselves and praying that you never find out. And so that is a risk, is that if your partner's world ends up getting rocked, you might end up getting kicked out of the party. Yeah. And there's also the risk that if they hook up often enough, that they may begin to build an actual relationship. Next thing you know, you looking for a divorce attorney.
You're gonna start building those emotions.
Exactly.
It took it from sexual to emotional, and that's the problem.
Exactly. So in order for this to be successful, we're gonna talk about what it takes, because this isn't for all couples.
I really want to hear how to make this successful.
Well, I just want to point out which couples this might be successful for. In order for this to be successful, the couple has to have a level of sexual satisfaction with each other that it leaves a very small margin for somebody to get turned out and their world to be rocked. When you have a wonderful, exciting, fulfilling sex life with your spouse, it does reduce the chances that somebody's gonna come in and rock somebody's world and destroy your world. And so that is something that I ask couples, y'all need to have a conversation on a scale of 0 to 10. How satisfied are the two of you when it's just the two of you? And couples that are like, well, we had a 5. Y'all might not want to bring somebody up in there. Okay.
Don't do it.
you get on these sites and bring somebody up in there who've been swinging for years, they coming up in there swinging. And if y'all at a 5, believe me, the gap from 6 to 10 is most likely going to be
at a 9.999. If this is
right.
what you want to do.
Now,
9.999.
But here's what complicates it. Because for those couples, when I present that, they're like, well, couples who are already at a 8, 9, 9.99, those aren't the couples who are looking for something exciting and new and adventurous like this, because they're already happy. So the majority of the couples who are presenting this option to their spouse, these are couples who are floating around at a 5, a 4, a 3. Those are couples who are looking for something new and exciting. The problem is they end up finding something new and exciting. And so they sometimes feel like, well, this doesn't make sense. This is making it complicated. How are we supposed to pull this off? All right. So here's something to think about. When you think about that margin that you hope the other person does not fulfill, if you are at an 8 or a 9 and you invite a third party in, even if that third party kicks that person up from an 8 to a 9, as far as that experience, they rank it a 9 and you've only brought an 8 to the table, it's really only 1 point above. You should be less threatened that the two of them are going to slip off together. Something that I have noticed in couples, especially like the couples where the woman is wanting to bring in another woman, is they usually end up revealing that they either have a history of engaging in bisexuality or they have a long history of curiosity in that area. So for people in that position, you need to be prepared that once your spouse has had a little taste, it is quite possible that they won't be able to go back. All right. And this goes for men also, for those situations where the couple is like, look, we're going to bring another man in here, and the couple can maybe discuss it, and well, where, what he doing with his penis, who he using his penis on. And they have these conversations, but sometimes things unfold. And as Stacy D said, rules are made to be broken, and some things can end up happening. And some people can end up enjoying certain things that end up happening, and it can rattle the foundation of your relationship.
Bingo, there it is. You just hit it. You just hit it.
Which part?
The foundation.
Rattle the foundation of the relationship. Yes. And so this is for people who are very, very secure. You have to be very, very secure within yourself and your own ability to sexually satisfy your partner. And the relationship needs to be really secure, because not only do you and your partner or spouse need to be very happy sexually, but on an emotional level. This is not for couples who are disliking or hating each other half the damn time. This is for couples who are head over heels in love, to the point that even if somebody comes in and rocks his world or rocks her world, or, you know, both worlds get rocked, everybody's sweaty and passed out at the end of the night, the love has to be strong enough that...
Don't you say nothing about no love, because we had a show that said it was love enough.
That's for abuse, Stacy D. That's for abuse. That ain't got nothing to do with what the damn hell we're talking about right now. We're talking about getting freaky. No, Stacy D, that was about abusive relationships and cheating.
Yeah, cheating and abusive relationship. This right here is going to be a form of cheating.
This is swinging. which technically is a form of cheating. Cheating is sneaking around behind your partner's back.
It's
And
what they gotta be sneaking around when you getting towed down and you gonna go around.
We're talking about a mutual agreement between two partners.
In the beginning.
Well, that's the risk that we're talking about. People be aware, which is the reason why I'm saying the relationship on an emotional level has to be so solid that there is little risk of your partner or spouse developing emotional feelings for the third party, which goes back to what I was saying before. Well, people whose emotional connection is on that level, those aren't really the couples who are presenting this option.
So let's get personal. So let's get personal with it, JP. So what about if Nadine was like, babe, I think we need to bring another man into the bedroom. What you think about that?
First thing, anybody who knows my wife, that is not even her style. Like, let me tell you, she is not. She's not even the one. She is not even the one for that.
She's not even watching today.
But my response, and let me say again, I do not judge couples for doing what you do. I don't judge people doing what they do. And as a therapist, my goal is just to kind of meet couples where they are. Now, since Stacy D is asking me personally, I do not think that this is healthy for relationships. And I have not seen a lot of success with couples who have experimented with this. It does kind of spread through a relationship like a cancer.
It does.
From my own, my perspective, this will slowly kill a relationship. Now, I am not saying that this cannot be pulled off successfully. I just want everyone to hear what I'm saying that it takes. It takes a lot in order to pull this off. And the margin for success is pretty narrow, but that does not mean that it is impossible. It does not mean that it's impossible. And, we talked about the older couple. One of the older couples I saw who was engaging in this, and their threesomes were the husband, he just wanted to watch somebody come in and tear his wife up.
Damn.
And that was a turn on for him. She got too old for that mess. She's like, I don't want to do it anymore. He coming home with these strange damn men. I got to ride these men. I don't know. She's like, I'm old. I'm tired.
I'm wore out.
And there's that risk of exposure. Like, what if the grandkids find out?
They at the door ringing, ring.
They ringing the doorbell, and grandma is swinging from a chandelier with some strange man, and the hubby, he's sitting.
And Papa got the binoculars looking.
He's sitting in the corner with binoculars in one hand and his penis in the other. It becomes a situation.
Don't let them have a kid. They can just walk on in.
It becomes a situation. And so I just want people to be aware. I'm not saying that you cannot pull this off. You just need to be aware that it is not easy. All right. It is not easy. And in these arrangements, oftentimes one person ends up wanting it more than the other. That's the other thing, is that usually both people are not equally wanting to do this. One person's wanting to do it and the other person is begrudgingly agreeing because they're trying to save their marriage or their relationship. They're trying to hold on to their spouse, and they're thinking, well, if I allow my wife or my husband to do this and I'm present, I should be preventing them from doing outside of my presence. Kind of how we talked about dumb parents who are like, smoke weed and crack with me, but don't do it with nobody else. Don't do it with nobody else. And they surprise love. My kid was high with all their friends. Yes, idiot. And so that's the other thing. That is a sign of a relationship that does not have a foundation in order to pull this off, because one person really does not want to do it. And they're just trying to desperately save their relationship. Stacy D, what are your thoughts?
I'm right there with you. Once again, JP, we are most definitely on the same page with this. I mean, I don't even think about another man. You know, I have no desires for another man, but I do want everyone to know, you know, when you go to the grocery store, you look at all the different fruit. You might even taste the grape.
Taste the grape.
Taste the grape.
You suggested that couples try this out, Stacy D. They get a little taste. Stacy D's like, go to get a little taste.
Gotta get a little taste. No. I'm just playing. But no, I do not even have a desire for another man. I'm so in love with King. Love is enough for me. Love is not envious. Yes, I have so much love.
So you're good. You don't need to taste another grape.
I don't need to taste another grape.
All right. Because you know how some grocery stores.
Or a grape taste me.
Oh, right. Because you know how some grocery stores, you know, there's those grocery stores like Subfresh that be having fruit in there that you ain't never seen before. And you like, what kind of fruit is this?
What is this? You might pick
That's
it up
basically
and
what
look
we
at it, but I'm not gonna buy it. I'm gonna pick it up, I'm gonna look at it, but I'm put it right back there, right back there. And go on to my regular fruit that I know, my apples, oranges, and bananas.
But you know what?
I'm gonna leave the exotic stuff alone.
They have that fruit because there are many customers who are like, I don't know what this is. I don't know if I'm supposed to eat the outside, if I'm supposed to peel it. They buy it and they take it home. And they exotic fruit. And they try it out.
And they try it out.
They eating the peel and all. Like we all know.
You're supposed to eat these seeds.
Eating the seeds, they don't know.
They eat the whole thing. Juice coming out down their arms and stuff.
We talking about those people.
We're talking about those.
For those of you out there who like to try exotic fruits, we are asking you to draw the line at the fruits unless you know that your relationship can withstand this particular exotic fruit that we are talking about today. Now, I will say that there are some couples who actually enhance their private sex lives, just the two of them, after experimenting with this. Let me say though, these are couples where they taking real good notes while somebody's world's getting rocked. They like, look, show me how to do it.
I'm gonna have to do that.
Yeah, show me how to do what you do, because we don't want to have to call you back up in here for
no more. One and done. Actually, that's what they're gonna videotape it. We're gonna hold on now. What they did? Ooh, yeah.
This is a one and done. So we taking notes.
JP, it's a teaching moment.
For those couples, I suggest do not video record these sessions, okay? Because your grandkids will find it and they'll never look at you the same. Y'all might want to have notepad and pen and take notes on how your partner's world got rocked. Because if you have to call that fool back up in that bedroom one more time, they're gonna leave with your spouse. This mess needs to be one and done. And some couples hire a professional. We're not gonna really get into that because we don't want to encourage prostitution.
That's a whole.
But
kicked off the air. We get kicked off the air.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing about the professionals. The professionals they are not wanting to have a full relationship. They are not wanting to split up a relationship. They like, look, I'm here to do what you pay me to do. Okay.
Like American
Get your notepad out.
Card, but no Diners Club.
I do take PayPal. Get your pen and paper out and watch what I'm about to do. I'm about to work it up in here, and you're gonna pay me when I get done. And I'm gonna leave you. Okay. all kidding aside, here's the thing about if you hire a professional. If you don't do a good job of duplicating what the professional did, your spouse is going to sneak around behind your back and hire another professional to get their world rocked. Be careful about exotic fruit. Sometimes that exotic fruit be so dang-gum good.
Leave the fruit alone, everybody. Leave the fruit alone.
Here is one of my last thoughts on this is when it comes to couples who are experiencing some bi-curiosity, it doesn't matter how much notes you gather, how good of notes you take. If your wife gets her world rocked and gets turned out by another woman, whenever you get done, you do not have a vagina. So you are not duplicating what that woman did for her, okay? And the same thing if your husband, you done got this man, he done came in there with his penis, he a professional, he done whipped his penis on your husband, and you later trying to duplicate it with a dildo, you might want to be prepared. It might not work out that well.
It's the one, I know we're getting kicked off the air. This is the last time y'all are probably ever.
Did I go too far? Mr. Walker better throw up a sign if I'm going too far.
We done promoted the hookers. We done promoted killing the food out the grocery stores. I mean,
this is Cognitions. Cognitions speaking the unspeakable.
Oh my God.
Okay, I'm just saying that I do not, in the couples that I have seen, when this is also about curiosity about bisexuality, I have never seen this go well for those couples. Because it has tended to ruin the relationship, because once a person has had a little taste of that exotic fruit, you're not going to be able to duplicate that. This is more so for couples where you at least got a shot in a dark chance of duplicating what that third party whipped on your part. Okay, so keep that in mind. And we joke about hiring a professional, but really you can't keep up with a professional. You are not really going to be able to duplicate what a professional. If you're going to invite a third party, it need to be somebody who is new to this and experimenting themselves as well. Because a professional, somebody's world gonna get rocked. Okay, so
that's what they get paid for.
Because that's what they get paid. It's what they do. It's what they do.
Professional. They are professionals.
So, in summary, here's my point. This can work out if for couples that already have a very satisfying sex life. And on an emotional level, they are very satisfied, very pleased with each other. There's not a whole lot of room for somebody to get all up in between the love and the relationship, okay? For the rest of you who do not meet that criteria, what I suggest is that you have open communication about what things you want to try out and experiment with each other. You don't necessarily have to call a third party up into the joint, okay? Experiment and play around and become the exotic fruit. All right, are we good for today, Stacy D? I think this went very well.
I think it did too.
That is our show.
Yeah, Mr.
Today.
Walker is still cracking up back there.
Mr. Walker is dying laughing. Let me tell you, Mr. Walker's like, this was too much. All right, that is our show for today. Thank you all for joining us. And remember, worry about nothing.
And pray about everything.
Thank you and God bless.
Bye-bye now.